Hello everyone, hi, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back to another episode reaction to Doctor Who. This is Haarute, my name is Matt Hill. Episode 2, I'm ready. Last week we got Space Babies, which was, I still stand by a weird episode to set up as like the first episode of the season. Though something that it does cement very quickly is that, it gives you a reason as to why we're not going to go see Ruby's parents immediately, but it also gives you just the idea that despite this being a literal monster made out of trash, that is supposed to be something you're afraid of, and it is, we're still gonna go out of our way to like save it, right? Because it cements like the idea of like what the Doctor stands for. So in that regard, maybe it is good as a first episode, because I have no idea what the rest of the season's gonna be like. But we're here to remedy that. We're gonna watch episode 2 today. So I'm just gonna be completely clear with you. Episode 4 already aired. But I haven't seen anything because I've been avoiding spoilers. Because honestly, I don't really use Twitter that much. The most I've seen is like blind waves thumbnails on YouTube because they haven't reacted to it, and I've seen like the titles of the episode. That's mostly it. I have no clue what I'm in here for. That's exciting. Let's go and watch this second episode. So I didn't say it on episode 1 because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep up weekly with this show. The answer is no. So what I'm gonna do instead is that it's gonna go up on the channel as I edit the episodes. So the same as I've been doing it with other shows. So it's gonna go up on Patreon. So episode 1 is gonna be up on YouTube, and then episodes 2 and 3 should be up on Patreon. And then I'm just gonna keep doing that. So if you would like to watch the next couple episodes of the season, they should be up on Patreon already, because I am already being really slow with this release. So might as well just commit to making this the release schedule. So that's the way it's gonna be. Otherwise, you can just wait. It's fine. Sure. Let's just watch the episode. Doctor Who, season 14, series 14, season 1, whatever. Episode 2. Let's go. 1, 9, 2, 5. Okay, so we're going backwards.
Beethoven wrote this when he first discovered he was going deaf. All that rage and fury. Am I boring you, Henry? There is one thing you might like. It's called the Devil's Chord.
Tell me more, sir.
Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness me.
Okay, so we summoned Satan.
Nice to see you again, kiddo.
You didn't look at my name, sir.
Henry Harbinger, that's it.
That's so stupid. All right, goodbye.
My notation is maestro.
You're the master?
I am music. Timothy Drake, you're a genius.
I don't know if this is a real person or not.
Clever enough to find the lost chord, but it's so sad. You never had the luck. You never got that break. All those melodies stifled and strangled inside you. They sit there still, wrapped around your heart, tight. Would you like me to set them free?
I would love that, yes.
Music maestro, please.
Okay.
Now.
That's fun. That's really fun. That reminds me of when Peter Capaldi did it with his guitar. It was great. So this is the master, maybe. It hasn't been properly said, but they said maestro, which, like, come on. Do you have your own theme song in your fucking jukebox?
I want to see the Beatles recording their very first album.
You can do better on the Beatles, but you know.
Amazing!
Oh, right, seriously!
Oh, people always say the Titanic! Oh, the Beatles!
Because if you somehow fuck up the Beatles, then all the music falls apart.
Wait, if we're in the 60s, what about my clothes?
Good thinking.
Hell yeah, let's get some outfits!
I wanna be high! Like a sound you hear.
Hell yes.
But you can't forget from sundown to
Hell yes, I love this. Get the fits on. I like this episode immediately. We have vibes, we had outfits, we have the master.
1963?
God, this, I love this throw. The sideburns as well, everything. When Evan wrote it straight up.
The EMI recording studios.
Janet said we could take over, so you can have 10 minutes off. Oh, right. Yeah, there's always a Janet, and everyone wants a cuppa.
Boys, do you want anything?
I'm all right for now. Maybe something stronger later on. What do you think, John?
Now you're talking, Paul, lad.
I just want a good night's sleep.
Hurry up then, George. When you're getting paid £7 a day.
This is fun.
Good luck.
Thanks.
I've got a dog, he's called Fred. My dog is alive, he's not dead. He's my dog, he's not your dog. If you want a dog, it's your own.
Good luck, Scylla.
I love you, you love me. We are two, we are not three. And I love you, we're quite happy, I think, perhaps.
Oh, Scylla.
They all had their music taken.
Everything's gone dull.
I like that.
No one whistles.
I like that I was immediately able to tell that. Like, as soon as we got here, everything was grayscale. Even though it was fun before.
Natural, you get music when the wind blows through the trees.
It's called aeolian tones. Music is the highest form of thought. If you take that away, that never happened.
Oh yeah, history is bad. We need to change things.
Okay, so what do we do?
You take John Lennon, I'll take Paul McCartney. Find out what's happened.
That's... I love that.
See, my darlings. That's half a crown, tar very much.
That is outrageous.
Take it or leave it, sweetheart. That's me, Margaret Lockwood in The Wicked Lady. Now there was a woman. Statuesque.
Could I just have a word? You are writing songs for the band, yeah?
They're not very good, are they?
Oh, no.
Great. That's great, lad. That's how it should be. It's not like the old days when we had waltzes and fandangos and all that.
What happened?
We started seeing sense. What we're doing here today is the last gasp. If I can make a bit of money out of cheap old rhymes, then I can settle down and get a proper job. It's embarrassing singing.
Wow.
Finish the album, get back to Liverpool, and forget it.
We need you.
What for? I'm no good at anything.
When it's just you on your own, don't you think that there must be better songs? Those songs that lift you and devastate you and make you soar. Songs that are tucked away somewhere in secret in the back of your mind.
How'd you know that?
I just want to go home. Forget this life. Just have me tea and go to bed with a woman of my own, you know? That's all I want. Then why do I wake up crying?
Late at night, I get this thought. It's so far away. It's a note.
This is cool.
And then a second, and a third, and fourth, and it feels like the most holy thing on this earth. And if you put words to it, words right from your heart. I love you so much.
And everyone immediately turns. Okay. They're here to kill Paul McCartney and take his music.
Don't waste me time.
Do you know what you are with your ideas, pal? Disgusting. You are disgusting.
What the hell was that?
Thing is, that music, dance, must be gone. No one dances anymore. I mean, can you dance without music?
I mean, you can, but you want to? No more love songs anymore.
Oh my God, there's no more love songs in the whole wide world. Is that smog? I thought they got rid of that in the 50s.
We had really bad smog in December '62, but this,
Oh boy.
it's more like a darkening. I'm there right now.
Okay, you're gonna have to start again.
In the past, right now, I live in a place called Totters Lane. 1963, I parked the TARDIS in a junkyard.
Yep.
And I lived there with my granddaughter Susan.
Yep.
You're what?
My granddaughter.
Susan.
Yes.
We could go and have a look, but you know, timelines.
Well, you've got children.
I did have, I will have. Time Lords get a bit complicated.
Yeah, but you've got a granddaughter. Where is she?
I don't know.
Yeah, we never really checked in with her, did we?
How do you not know?
Time Lords were murdered. Genocide rolled across time and space like a great big cellular explosion. Maybe it killed her too.
Oh shoot, you don't want to check. That's cool. We never really get an answer as to why we don't care about Susan.
All those horrible tunes? No thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Sweet, I've seen you. December 23, King's Arms. You opened with One More Sleep.
Oh yeah.
At this moment in time, Ruby Sunday, you are the only music in the world. Let's see what happens if you bring music back.
We're gonna summon a demon. A transgender demon. I do like kind of the concept of this episode. Music, art has kind of disappeared from the world. Everything's gray and sucks. And we are the only people that have it. People are kind of losing themselves in it. People just start crying. Like what we saw with McCartney and Lennon, they do have that spark in them still, but then something happens and takes it away. We can meet with them? Yes. Love it.
How was the giggle?
Yes, it was. Okay, we're immediately running away. God, what a drama queen. Love him. This now becomes a horror movie.
I heard music. And music is mine.
Love that. What are we doing? Oh, silence.
Sound and vision.
This old lady. Oh,
Music.
we reignited music. She was inspired, but now they're gonna go and kill that old lady.
That thing must be part of the Pantheon.
We're dealing with gods again? To me, that's the master.
Powers.
But now we're bringing the gods of Ragnarok and shit.
The toy maker.
Yeah?
Defeating him took everything.
Took two of us.
I can't survive that again. He warned me. He said my legions are coming.
But you made that silence with the sonic. That worked, didn't it?
Yeah, one trick. Once. That's all you get with the gods. But this thing is stealing music. I mean, how?
How?
The world did not end in 1963. Music exists.
Come with me.
Modern day is gonna look fucked up, then. What the Okay. We're in Bloodborne now. This looks like Bloodborne. Alright.
But this isn't real. It's just like a parallel universe.
This is your time.
Where's my mom?
I think without music, The human race goes sour. Without any way of expressing a broken heart, they go to war without even knowing why.
This is the music appreciation episode. Okay. Right there. Oh my god. The commanding presence that Maestro has of the camera every time they're on camera.
That was you in 63, wasn't it? Sweet cheeks. The Lord Temporal trapped my father and bound him in salt. Yes?
Child of the toy maker.
C'est moi, mon cher. Daddy was so bad to me.
But what's the point? You've destroyed the world. Music is gone. How is that win?
Not gone! Hush! The sound of a nuclear winter.
Aeolian tones. Music without the need of people.
I see.
And every song that goes unsung feeds me. The universe will stop turning. Aeolian tones across the whole of creation. And that lament will be my symphony supreme. I'm going solo.
How did you enter this? Your father established the rules of fair play. One thing that he would never do is cheat. So I have a right to know.
A single silly man who found the lost chord.
Which means a different combination of notes would banish you.
I said genius? Oh, honey, I don't think so.
What is it? What's happening?
This is an intense fucking episode for like the second episode. I'm into it. Yeah.
No, that's something else.
Okay.
Hariyama!
Back into Mistodius. Notes of Banishment. Hell yeah.
Okay, but don't need to be a genius. No offense, just a musical genius.
Sometimes genius is just hard work.
Yeah?
I like that. That's a good line. Genius is just hard work. Oh god. Well,
leave her alone.
But she's the only human left with music in her heart.
Maestro, I am asking you just.
That's wrong.
What do you mean?
There's a hidden song deep inside her soul.
Christmas. Music that was playing the night that she was born.
How could a song have so much power? And power like him?
Like who?
The oldest one? On the night of her birth. He can't have been there. What for?
okay. What?
Enough.
Okay. Ruby special. Something when she was born.
This creature is very wrong.
And this is very right. This is the famous Abbey Road piano.
I wonder if that's the real one.
This is the piano that the Beatles will play on their greatest hits. All from this. So I know that this piano is rattling with all the potential to send you back to hell.
Music battle.
I love that. This is like just the right amount of silly, but also real. There's no other way for this episode to resolve other than a music battle with the devil. Another building off of one another. That's how music works. Why play while turned around? That was the note that did it.
Do it! Can you find it? Are you enough of a genius?
Oh, I would never call myself that, Maestro. But I have lived, and I have loved. And I can only smile like this because I have lost so much. I've experienced everything. And if that's where music comes from...
Then I have a lot of material.
Just one more.
Bum, no!
She just flies away.
Ruby, get the piano!
Okay, Ruby can play it.
Sorry to keep harping on!
We're gonna be saved by... We're gonna be saved by one of the Beatles. An actual musician is gonna save us. Oh, and the notes are like physically there. Save us, John Lennon. I think that was Lennon.
I just want to go home.
Well, you can't
Yeah.
do that. We need you.
What for? I'm no good at anything.
And you put them together, and it feels like the most holy thing on this earth.
McCartney. They were like, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Thank you, Lennon and McCartney. You saved music. Ominous. All right. The scholar returns to the world now. Yeah.
But there is one thing that I should warn you about, Ruby, and this is really very serious. There's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist. There's always a twist. There's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist. There's always a twist. There's always a twist.
Oh my god.
We got the pop and the rock and the Lindy Hop. We got the jive behind and the staying alive. We got the conga and the salsa and the big papa. The ones and the strong and the grounds is the fun. There's always a twist. There's always a twist. There's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist.
Wow.
Always say by the end of the twist. That's one good thing that can't be missed. Have such a little dance since we know what's best.
Everyone's just dancing at the studio. Yeah. Like, we're at the point where, like, none of this looks real. But it doesn't matter. We're in the music dimension. Everything is being governed by musical logic right now. Okay, so the Harbinger is still around. What was that, Henry Harbinger? Alright, we partied so hard we brought music back to the world. Alright. Oh my god. That was an episode. I don't even know what I can say about it because it was like too many things, but it was fun. I liked it. It's so clear to me how this episode immediately makes me think to the earlier seasons of the show in 2005 because it is just the right amount of silly and hammy, but presented to you as like something that you should take seriously, which it's like its own vibe that I really love. Like it became very clear to me in that scene where the Maestro, which I have no clue who Master is. It might be the offspring of the toy maker. It could also be the Master, because there was a connection between the Master and the toy maker because he was trapped in the tooth, and Maestro is just Master. That could just be the Master, and we're just gonna like keep it and not say it, not reveal it until like the finale when he comes back, and it's like, I was the Master all along, and it's like, what? And it's sort of like a Mrs. situation, but doesn't matter. I'm just gonna call him Master until confirmed one way or another. But it became very clear to me when I was watching that scene where Maestro was went and killed that old lady, took the music out of her, and it was this thing where like just the entire presence of Maestro is very goofy. It is very extra, but there is also a level of scary that you can bring out of a character like that, you know? Which is why the Master, especially RT era Masters, they were like unhinged on a level that is like fun, but they're also still just gonna kill these people. And there is like a level of like chaotic element that you can't really fight against, and that is scary. And the same also kind of applied to the toy maker, and the same applies here to Maestro, where that old lady just saw a full-ass person just climb out of a piano with 3D CGI musical notes just coming out of around them, and just like Dr. Octopus just floated and went to her and just grabbed her and maybe ripped her hair off. I don't know what happened. That whole time while that was happening, even though that is goofy as shit, but it's also like, yeah, we're just gonna murder an old lady in front of you. Maestro just goes to the windows, looks right at the camera, winks at you. We have like ding, and then he just closes it, and it's like so goofy, but also like, yeah, that old woman is dead. For as much as I know, that woman is just fucking dead, and we're never gonna know. And honestly, like, that's good, because that makes me think to early RTD stuff where like fucked up shit would happen, and it would happen in the most goofy way possible, but it would also make it so you can't feel super comfortable with the goofy shit. In fact, it makes you more afraid because you're like, I don't know what's happening. And I love the character of Maestro here. I do. Because this character of Maestro, I was thinking about this as it was happening, and the doctor was mentioning, it must be someone from the Pantheon. And then bringing back the conversation about the toy maker. There is something really fun about an antagonist who just does shit. And what I mean by that is that, like, we were in, like, the end of the world, right? Like, the nuclear winter fallout. We're in the middle of nowhere. And then suddenly, Maestro is there, and also now we're in a completely dark room, and also now there's like a screen playing, and it's the thing where like, yeah, those are not rules of reality. Like, rules of reality don't apply to these like trickster gods, and I do think that's fun. You can't do it too much because it's broken, because like there's no way to fight against it, but whenever it happens is fun. And we have done it twice now with this new era of the show, with the giggle and now this, and I'm assuming we're not going to see it a lot, but whenever it happens, it's fun. It is fun. For a moment while I was watching this, I was thinking about the gods of Ragnarok. You know, I didn't think about the giggle and the toy maker. I thought about the gods of Ragnarok, which happened during the Seven Doctors era in 1988. I think that's when it happened. I could be wrong, but that is something that Shurigawa mentioned to David Tennant in the giggle. It was like, we fought the gods of Ragnarok, didn't even blink at that, and we never even stopped to think about how fucked up that was. And it's like, yeah, and I maybe that was a mention that things are going to go into that direction this season, where we're gonna start running into gods that we have to like somehow battle against, even though we realistically cannot. So that's something interesting to keep in mind. The tone of this episode was, after it was over, I was left sitting here like, I don't know how to feel, because it was really weirdly all over the place, and that was like intentional. Like, this character Maestro really is gonna like, is trying to put you in a position where you're like, I don't know. So it is a little bit uncomfortable, and I do like that. The way it ended too, it was, because like so much of the episode was like really serious and grim and fucked up. We watch people die on screen. We get to see some of the like most influential, poetic artists of the world in history just look into a camera and be like, fuck that shit, I don't care about that. And it's like heartbreaking in a way. And then we get to see the literal apocalypse, the end of the world, and it's like, yeah, your family's dead. And then everything about the maestro, right? Everything about maestro is just like, yeah, man, it's just goofy shit. So like he swung wildly between one to the other, and that was very unsettling and uncomfortable. But like looking back at it, I'm like, that really was a fun episode. It was very daring, and I like that. I like that about it. I like feeling that way after an episode is over. Just sitting here, like, the tone was so weird and all over the place, and it makes me feel like I don't know what's happening, and that's good, actually. That confusion actually adds on to it. It enhances it. But as for the actual like concept of what the episode is about, I actually do like it a lot too. It's the idea of music has disappeared from the world. We need to bring it back. And for the episode, it's not actually as easy as just playing music, because they try to do that and then they summon a devil, right? So they can't do that because there is a devil actually suppressing music from happening in the world through supernatural means. However, you do see in the scene with Lennon and McCartney how they actually do talk about, like, they have the spark of music. They have the inclination, and they do feel like that inside of them that's trying to come out. But then they also talk about, like, yeah, but we can't do that. Like, they talk about it in such a, like, depressed, like, manner. I think it was McCartney who said something like, yeah, I just want to make a few bucks with this, like, dumb bullshit, because, and then maybe have enough to, like, get a real job, a real profession. It's like, I'm not good at anything else, so I just want to make off whatever I can off of this and then just fucking leave. And it was, I think it was Lana who said, like, I just want to go home. Like, there's, like, I don't, like, I feel like I'm trash at this because, like, you can't be good at it. Like music sucks anyway. I just want to go. I just want to run away and leave. But, like, what else do I do? And then he said, like, but then why do I always wake up crying in the morning? It's like, oh, like, they made a great show of what it would be like for an artist to wake up in a world where there is no art. I love that. I love that about it. It's great. And they're using Lennon and McCartney because, like, listen, I don't give a fuck about the Beatles. I don't listen to them. But also, it is undeniable the influence that they have had on the history of music, right? Like, my favorite bands wouldn't exist without the Beatles, right? Like, I'm a big fan of like 70s prog. I like 70s prog. 70s prog wouldn't exist without Beatles. So seeing artists that are such a, like, cornerstone of just history look at you and be like, yeah, this all sucks. And it's like, oh my god, like, they look really fucking sad while that was happening. And then they had a moment where Maestro influenced them, and then they were like, they just straight up insulted the main cast, like, stop talking about that dumb bullshit. And they just walked away and left. Like, it had that vibe of, like, you know, when you talk about to, like, a person who, like, they have some, like, internalized, like, bigotry or something in them, and then you challenge that, and you challenge it in such a manner where you realize that this person also has some kind of inclination to something that they don't allow themselves to express, and then you challenge that to them, and they get upset. They get upset at the idea that somebody would openly fight for it when they themselves have not. They want to because they have the inclination, but then they don't because they don't feel like they can in the world that they live in because of the internalized, like, mentality that they have had. It had that vibe to it where, like, you're telling this musician that they are allowed to make all this awesome music. The Doctor talks to McCartney about, like, don't you, like, have this, like, thoughts, this things that come to you? And McCartney was like, how do you know that? And it's the thing of, like, it happens. Music exists. It is happening in these people, but they don't feel like they can bring it to the world. So that was really interesting to me because, like, I was thinking about, like, how does that even happen? And then it's like, well, there's like a supernatural feel suppressing it, whatever. But that makes it so much more interesting to me because you're grabbing people who have that in them, but they cannot get it out, which is so much more interesting than just them not having it. Because now you can see the pain in them as people who cannot express it. And I love that about it. I love that about it. That was great. So that also makes it so much more rewarding whenever at the end of the episode it's Paul and McCartney who save the day, because they have it in them. So when they see the music notation and then they see that the final one is missing, they go, this. They find the missing note because they have that in them. They have the spark. And now they're finally allowed to get it out, and doing so saves the day. It's thematic, it's poetic, it's good. I like that. So I love it. I love this the storyline of music is gone, we need to save it, but also it is paying respect to the history of music. It is not just like, oh, the Doctor solved music. It's like, no, the artists themselves who have that in them, they brought music back, and that's good. And and then at the end of the episode, it's like, yeah, everyone starts singing and dancing, and it's a good time, and it's beautiful. And I do like that we had like a musical of everyone just dancing. It is silly, but I'm also looking at it and I'm like, it kind of makes sense, because if I was the Doctor and Ruby, I would be like, well, we brought music back. We need to ensure that we reignite it. And how else do we do that other than party? And then they just started partying and brought as many people along as they could, just in the recording studio with the Beatles, with, what was her name? I don't know this musician. Ciola, something like that. Everyone's just in the recording studio, just dancing and partying and singing and doing the twist. And it's really fun. And it's like, yes, that's how you do it. Because like, it is not just the concept of music in like a boring sense of like, oh, this is music. It's like, no, it is the essence of music. It is the soul of music. We need to sing. We need to dance, because that's what music is here. It is not just like, oh, composing. It's like, no, it's composing, but it is also just the enjoyment of music, right? Music is not just limited to that, the creation of it in a room. It is music. It is the performing of music. It is the participating in music, you know? Like, there are studies about like when you sing along with people, like that is something that makes you happy, you know? Like that, all of that. There's a reason why you sing your favorite songs. It feels good. So like, that's awesome. I thought that was incredible. I love that about this episode. I don't know if the Master is the Master or not. On some level, clearly that's the name. Because it is. It just straight up is. They have the same root word etymology. And like, it makes extra sense to me because that's the word in Spanish. Like maestro, it is reserved as a title for someone who is very musically gifted I think it's like Italian. So that's how English speakers know that word. But in Spanish, maestro is just the word master. It's literally the word. And it's the same in Italian. That's where it comes from. So like, maybe that's just me. But I feel like even as an English speaker, you would look at the word maestro and be like, that's the master. So it is so obvious, but at the same time, maybe it's too obvious, and that's why it's not. So I don't know. It could be anything. I don't know. I just think it's the master because also there is already that connection, you know? They mentioned in the giggle, like, oh yeah, the tooth, he trapped the master in the tooth. Unless he said the maestro in the tooth, but I'm pretty sure that was the master. So if they trapped the master in the tooth, somebody grabbed the tooth, right? Like somebody grabbed the tooth. And who grabbed the tooth, I think they had like really pretty fingernails or something. So it might have been the maestro. But then that means that the maestro has the master. But because of time travel shenanigans, it also doesn't mean that the maestro is not also the master freeing themselves. Could be anything. I don't fucking know. I think we're just gonna stop this discussion here. I mean, not the discussion in general, just the discussion of the maestro. Because there's no point in this. We're just gonna see whenever it gets revealed or not. We're just gonna move on with our lives. I love how gray everything felt in this episode. I mean, it was depressing, but like, I like that I was immediately able to tell that was the case. You know, when they walked on Abbey Road and they were like, we were having so much fun with the costumes, and you had the fur and the sideburns. Great look, by the way. Look fucking incredible. The fits this episode, A++. But they were like walking on Ruby Road. They were like walking on Ruby Road and they were like, oh, they were having so much fun and laughing, but everything looked so gray. And that was something that, like, I felt it. I noticed. I didn't say anything, but I was like, directorial choices. Whatever. We'll see whenever we get later on in the episode, like what happens. But then music was gone, and that became the entire storyline. And I was like, oh yeah, like everything sucks, and that's why everything's great, because the soul, the color is gone. And that was so fun. How you're able to feel that immediately. As for overarching plot stuff, I mean, not just to mention that the master had of more things coming, and then we also saw the child back. So if the child is back, then the Harbinger is back, and that means that is a gateway for Master to come back. So that's one thing. There's the twist at the end. There's always a twist at the end. Also, so Ruby started singing this Christmas music, Christmas call. That fought back against Maestro, and Maestro was like, no, how could that be? He was there? And I was like, what? That was like so clearly like, oh, this is stuff. This is stuff about Ruby's origins. Power like him, like who? The oldest one, on the night of her birth. He kind of been there. What for? So the oldest one, Ruby's special. Ruby's just special. Like, and this is something it's interesting because last episode I mentioned something like this. I was thinking that because part of me was kind of expecting the TARDIS to like try to analyze Ruby and be like, oh no origin, we don't know anything about her, and it would be like, what the fuck? Because like, even if the TARDIS doesn't know that about this regular human, who is she? And then now the master just straight up says like, yeah, she's special. And it's special because there is some kind of relationship with someone who was there. The oldest power, for what purpose? And I'm sitting here like, who? What are we talking about? Like, what is the oldest power? What is like the most ancient thing that we can bring back? I mean, we're already dealing with God, so like, how do you take a step further? Okay, give me a second. Let me look up Fenric in the Doctor Who wiki. The Seventh Doctor claimed that the sentient force of evil was a surviving fragment of the evil half of the good-evil binary, which had shattered into 1,000 pieces to create the universe. Yeah, that could be it. It could be Fenric. I would love if Fenric came back, just because I want more tie-ins to the Seventh Doctor, because the Seventh Doctor is my favorite era of the classic show. I love the Seventh Doctor's era. It could be Fenric. I don't know, because like, something so vague of like the oldest one, he was there. Why? I'm sitting here like, that could be anything. But me personally, my Seventh Doctor ass fan, I look at that and I'm like, I hope he's Fenric. I hope that's like a random ass pull from classic Doctor Who, because like they already did that with the Toymaker from the first Doctor era. But like, and they mentioned the Gods of Ragnarok. They did. They don't tell me they didn't, because they did. So I would love it if they brought back Fenric. Because like, Fenric is also like, Fenric was in only one story, I'm pretty sure, which is the Curse of Fenric with the Seventh Doctor. It's not like, oh, we're bringing back the Master. It's like this ongoing, recurring antagonist, which I'm pretty sure is gonna come back, the Master, at some point, because the tooth was mentioned. But I would love it if Fenric came back, because he was only in one story. You can absolutely bring Fenric back and make it so you write Fenric as if this was your first introduction to the character. You would also have a great time. You can do that because Fenric was only there once, so you can absolutely just insert Fenric and have the Doctor mention Fenric as like, oh yeah, I fought Fenric once and won in a chess game, and I had to like betray the trust of like someone who was very dear to me at the time, and having looked like heartbroken about it. But it's this thing of like, I fought him, and it's like a legend, you know, like it happened once and now it's back. Oh fuck, you know, like that would be cool. Because the Doctor does have that, you know? Even if you don't directly show it, the Doctor does have that, where the Doctor just says shit about like, yeah, this is something that I experienced in my past. And even if it didn't happen in a classic episode, you could be like, I believe him because he just experienced so many things. So I would love it if Fenric came back and he just told you the story of the Curse of Fenric, but just as a tale that he lived through. I would love that. I feel bad whenever I mention something like I wish that they bring X back from the classic show. I do feel bad whenever I say that, because part of me is thinking from a storytelling standpoint, you don't want the show to be overly concerned with looking at the camera and winking and be like, do you remember this shit? I do. That's like a Marvel problem, you know? It's like, oh, we create our own references that then we keep referencing And then that becomes its own like self-replicating machine of like we reference our own shit, and the really hardcore fans are gonna look at that and gonna be like, that's awesome, and then that feeds them so they can keep going. And like, to me, I don't really like that, because that is a cheap way to engage you into something that could just be poor writing. However, I do like references to the things that I like. And it feels so bad for whenever I mention, like, man, I hope they bring back something about the Seventh Doctor. But then at the same time, if you go back and watch my reaction to The Power of the Doctor, the final episode of the Chibnall era, that episode does have some straight up inserting references very clear front and center to the Fifth Doctor era and the Seventh Doctor era. And if you watch my reaction to that, I'm like vibrating, crying when the Seventh Doctor and Ace reunite for a second. And I'm like, that's like, there are very few moments where I felt as emotional as that moment in just the history of my channel, or just in general while watching anything. And it's like, yeah, because that is the emotional core that can be brought back if they decide to bring something back that you care about from the past. The show does have its history, and it is canon, and I don't see a reason why not to reference it, other than, well, it might get in the way of telling a new story. Completely understand that. But I think that if you are able to tell a good story while simultaneously bringing something from the past, which, let me be clear, that has already happened. Like this new era of the show, 2005 Doctor Who, New Who, that references classic constantly. Doesn't always do it, but like, even the first episode, Rose, that references the first episode with John Pertwee, the Third Doctor, Spearhead from Space. Like, it's like almost the exact same storyline. So like, I think that you shouldn't concern yourself too much with referencing old shit, but I think that if you do it, and if you do it right, and if you tell a good story with that reference, it is something that you should absolutely go for. Because like, the people who already know it are going to be there in the seats crying, but the people who don't know it, they're still going to get swept under it because they are having a good time. So then now they join in the old people who already love the old reference, and now the new people love the old reference as well, because they, even though they see it for the first time, it is an introduction, it is an entry point. And that's the entirety of how the show works, right? Like, that's the thing about Doctor Who, is that like, you can join in, not in every season, but pretty much any season, where you can join in at the beginning of a season and be like, yeah, this is good. Arguably, at any random episode, because they're mostly episodic, you can join in and be like, yeah, this is good. And that's something I love about the show. So, I just got really sidetracked. I'm not even talking about this episode anymore. I was just talking about, like, old references. But, like, yeah, I don't know what Maestro was talking about. Who is coming? What is the oldest power that was there with Ruby? Why Ruby is special? We just have more questions. We now have more directed questions, but there's still questions. I still have no idea what's happening. So, yeah. Love this episode. Really, really did. Like, I feel like as I talked through it, I liked it more. Because, like, after I finished watching it, I still had that feeling of, like, that was jarring. Like, I just felt like I went all over the place, so I don't know what happened. But now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, I really enjoyed how the emotional core of artists, musicians, all of that came through, and that ultimately saved the day, and how we bring music back, and how music is more than just creating music, it's the act of participating in music, you know, that, like, that is something that really speaks to the soul that the Doctor was referencing, and I love that. I love it, all of it. This episode was good. I like that. And we're also introducing an antagonist that had such a commanding presence. That's something that stood out to me immediately. How Master had such a commanding presence of the camera, in a manner that, like, the Toymaker has, the Master has, maybe the same person, I don't know. Like, yeah, like, that is... Maybe the Master gained god powers by being part of the Toymaker's tooth. Maybe that's it, you know? Like, maybe they absorb some of the god power, you know? So it's like, the Master's not a god, but is now a god, because they were part of a god for a little bit. So now they have a little bit of that leftover residue. So that's a theory. But yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. We're just gonna keep going. This is a very, like, intense second episode of the show, which I like. After the first episode, which was Space Babies, which was just a bunch of fart and booger jokes, which I'm not against, but it was just a weird choice to make that the first episode, immediately swerving into this one, where it's grim out here. It is also silly, but it is grim out here. It's like, oh man, this is fucked up. And like, again, those scenes with like McCartney and Lennon, they were like sad. I felt it. I was like, damn, this episode was great. And it was grim, and it's very contrasting to the past episode. But I liked it a lot, actually. I really enjoyed it. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for tuning in for this Doctor reaction. I will say, full-length people, I'm sorry, there was a moment where I was watching the episode and the episode just cut in the middle, so there's gonna be a weird skip. And the reason why that happened is because my hard drive is dying. I need to buy a new one. Support me on Patreon to help with that if you can. But I need to buy a new hard drive. It's been dying because there were many power outages this summer, as every summer. So like the whole thing just fucked up in the middle of recording. I was afraid it would. Luckily my computer didn't crash, but the video did fuck up. But anyway, I'm not here to beg. I'm here to just talk about Doctor Who. I did that. I've accomplished it. I'm gonna move on with my life. I need to go get some food, so I'm gonna go do that. Thank you so much for tuning into this reaction episode of Doctor Who. See you guys next time. Bye. And if you would like to watch the next 2 episode reactions to Doctor Who as well as full-length reactions, you can do so over to Patreon. Check out the links below, social media, all sorts of cool stuff that I do. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.